So I'm glad you're on for this one, actually, Bo. Dune Messiah is reportedly kind of in the works, basically. Interesting wording, anyway. So they say this part 3 hasn't officially been greenlit by the studio. It hasn't, no. However, a writer, director is not going to be spending time on a script unless the studio hasn't paid him to do it. They're just not. The guy's gonna be writing it on spec. So yeah, they have greenlit it. Basically, Denis Villeneuve has shared a very positive update for the film, and just basically said, yeah, the script is in the works, so it's happening. I'm writing, part 3 Messiah. Now, interestingly, in an interview with Empire, he said, if we go back, it needs to be real, it needs to be relevant, which is like language.
What?
If ever I do Dune Messiah, it's because it's going to be better than part 2. Otherwise, I don't do it. I mean, that's good, I guess. But this whole it needs to be relevant.
Yeah, what does that mean?
What do you mean by that?
Yeah.
What do you mean by that? Relevant in what regard? What are you doing there? So that's it. That is the news. Is that he's said he is working directly. Yeah, I'm working on it. The film is in the works, which means he's working on the script, and it's happening. But apparently, it needs to be relevant.
Yeah, that's odd because the Dune universe is very, very not relevant to our real world. That's the whole point of it. It's pure escapism. It's sci-fi. It's a fantasy universe. What do you mean relevant? That's that's odd. A bit of an odd word to have chosen. But unless it looks really crap, which I doubt, because so far they've been good, and I've been a big fan of them. I'd actually probably go to the cinema to see that, probably, unless other people review it and it's like they've completely flipped it. Completely.
Wow. But this is the thing, isn't it? What do they do with Cheney?
They do that sometimes, don't they? I mean, do you remember, you remember 300 came out and it was really based, and then there's a 300 part 2 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And they flipped it. And they do that with some, there's a fair few franchises where the first season of it, did they do it with Stranger Things? I can't remember. Sometimes the first film or the first season of something, it'll be really based, and then they give it over to new directors, new writers, and it becomes the super woke thing.
Yeah.
I really hope they don't do that. Obviously,
well,
really hope they don't do that.
Well, the fundamental differences with Cheney at the end of the film, Zendaya's character.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they say it here. Look, in the book, Cheney falls in love with Paul, remains staunchly loyal to him, along with Stilgar and the rest of the Fremen. Obviously, in the movie, Cheney just runs off like a petulant child, and it's like, no, you're not my Muad'Dib. No, I'm running away, and yeah, I don't really. How's that going to work? That's going to be a very different. It's not going to be the same. It's not going to be the same story. It's going to be a different story.
Yeah, my fear is where we did the first Dune films in quite some detail, didn't we, Nate? They were essentially very, I thought, pretty damn loyal to the original novel. There's certain bits they had to cut out because it's always impossible to tell it other than in prose. But mainly they didn't really change big plot things largely. But that bit they did. My fear is that what I'm seeing, I fear, is that what they did with that film Napoleon, where they actually made it loads about Napoleon's wife. Right? No one's going to see a biopic about Napoleon to have half the film about his strained relationship with his wife. That's not what cares about that. So I worry that the next Dune Messiah will be loads about Cheney. Half the film will be about her. I hope they don't do that.
Struggling, trying to find her inner peace or some crap like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't love you, Paul, but I do love you, Paul.
You didn't love Josephine?
if they called the film Napoleon and Josephine, right? Or if they called the film Josephine, okay, right. So it's a film all about Josephine, right? All right. Or it's all about Napoleon's relationship and the battles and the high politics and everything is the backdrop to that. Well, then fair enough. But no, it was sold to us as just a biopic of Napoleon. And yeah, no, I don't care about Josephine. No. I did a series on Epochs, like it was a 9-part series in conversation with Carl Benjamin, all about Napoleon, and so that would have added up to a good 10 hours worth of content. And I probably did half an hour talking about Josephine, maybe 40 minutes in total talking about Josephine, and that's what it merits, right? Napoleon's life is absolutely chock-a-block with events, and his relationship with his wife isn't of much importance.
Are you sure?
Yeah, positive.
You sure not just getting it wrong?
Yeah,
no.
I mean,
movie,
they're childless, and he divorces her and moves on. Like, it's not a big part of his life. It really isn't.
Well, I mean,
it's a dead end narrative part of his life.
But I mean, she must have made an impression on him, and we have to find out, exactly how and why.
God, he was into MILFs. He was in his 20s, and she was a well-known courtesan in her 40s, and he was besotted with her. And then she got a bit old and haggard, and he threw her away. End of story. There's not much more to tell, right?
Legend.
That's what happened.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens with this, though. Yeah, I don't know. Well, it's happening. I hope it's really good. I mean, I enjoyed.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Sorry, fingers crossed.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed the first one, and I thought the second one was better in every single way. I thought it built on everything, which I thought was a bit weak about the first one. And I didn't think it was a weak film. I still actually really liked it. So I'm hoping Denis Villeneuve keeps his sort of feminist ideology at bay and doesn't go complete just batshit crazy on it.
I'm guaranteeing you, after we destroyed the third act of the last film, I fully suspect we're going to get Dune inner goddess instead of Messiah.
Yeah. Or what? Yeah, what do you think then, Culture? Before we move on,
I'm sorry. Say that again.
What do you think before we move on?
Oh, what I just said. I fully suspect.
That's your contribution. We're going to get inner goddess. All right. Okay. Cool.
Well, I mean, there's not much. There's not much there that would be innovative or relevant to today's age.
Relevant word is a bit.
Yeah. The minute you make it relevant to today's age means I'm changing this so that it's nothing resembling what you would consider an adaptation and more of like a treatise on modern feminism.
Yeah, true. Well, we'll see. I hope it's good. Because they've made good money for Legendary, so I hope they can keep him in control. Or keep control of him, and don't go completely balls to the wall.
I did really like the first two, and I liked Blade Runner 2049. I just hope he doesn't go full femtard. Never go full femtard.
Don't do it. Especially not with this, right?
Like there's no need. Yeah, right.
It's a good story. Yeah.
You guys are both going to be very disappointed.
Oh, don't be saying. Come on.
Okay. I mean, don't look forward in what's the obvious conclusion. Okay.
Have some confidence. Come on.
In who?
Got some optimism.
No, he already fisted the story. How are you going to put the cereal back in the box? The cats are already chewing the hell out of it on the floor.
Well, they could just completely sideline Cheney.
Yeah,
right? They could just not even include that. Right? There is actually a way to do it. They could just be like, and he just goes off and wreaks havoc across the universe. That's fine. Yep, whatever. That's fine.
I mean, could we finally get some of the stuff we didn't really get in the first two? I mean, can we do some navigators? Can we do some cool stuff, please?
Yeah. Talk about the spice and the company and anything. Anyway.
Right, we'll move on from that.